Okay, this video is about K-factor. K-factor is the ratio of potassium to sodium. Richard Moore, who wrote the greatest book ever written on hypertension, high blood pressure solution, emphasized that you must keep your K-factor at least 5 or higher. I actually think he's underestimating the numbers, and you should really want it, closer to around 10. I say this because, he claims our ancestors probably ate about 15 times as much potassium as sodium. I think he's again underestimating. He still hadn't completely gotten over you need meat and all this other stuff. Meat tends to have a K factor of around 4. Okay, I'll show you in a moment a chart. So the significance of this is that potassium is a vasodilator. Sodium is a vasoconstrictor. Okay, inhibits endothelial nitric oxide synthase. Nitric oxide is the most powerful vasodilator in the human body. Okay, you need potassium to run your potassium sodium ATP pumps. And when you eat the potassium, you're from the plant foods, you get more magnesium as well, which helps to run those pumps and prevent hypertension. So K-factor is a very useful concept. And what you're going to see here, I'll show you the chart of the actual K-factor numbers. When you look at the numbers, it becomes pretty obvious that plant foods are by far the best. Take a look at fruits. And I actually think, we are designed to eat fruits. Look at your eyes. Why do we have color vision, but carnivore animals do not? So we can see when a fruit is ripe. I think that is a big part of the human diet. Now, don't get me wrong. I think we're best off eating the majority of our calories from starch. However, fruits are an important part of our diet. And one of the things you'll notice about fruits is when you look at them closely, they come out better than you'd think. They're very low in fat. They're very low in protein. And look at these K-factor ratios. They're incredible. Bananas have a K-factor of 450. That's not a misprint. 450 times more potassium than sodium. So your first thought would be, how could that be? And the reason that can happen is because the potassium is intracellular. So an intact whole food has intact cells, therefore it contains a lot of potassium. Potassium is the most common intracellular ion in the human body, by far. Okay? And the amounts of potassium inside a cell are I think 1.5 million times higher than the amount of, let's say, calcium inside a cell. Just to give you a little perspective. We're made to run on high potassium diets. The other thing is the kidney is extraordinarily good at excreting potassium. It's made to excrete potassium. It's also made to conserve sodium. Sort of primitive populations like the Yanomamo in the South American jungles near Venezuela and Brazil, Amazon jungle, they check their urine. They have close to 0 sodium in their urine. The kidney is designed to conserve sodium because for our ancestors it's relatively scarce. It's an extracellular ion primarily that gets often lost in food processing. Okay. Look at this, watermelon 270, oranges 250, strawberries, raspberries. Okay, now oats are up there at about 160, blueberries at 110. Okay, now let's take a look at a bunch of starches. Starches, so you can remember that. Fruits tend to have K-factors of over 100, 100 to 500. Starches tend to have K-factors of about 20 to 60 in that ballpark. Okay, like I said, oatmeal, steel-cut oats can be 160, but black beans are as low as 19. White rice, about 60. So they've got a really good K-factor. Okay, you want to probably keep it about 10 or higher, approximately, at a minimum 5. If you look at veggies are surprisingly not as high in K-factor. They're more in the ballpark of 5 to 15. Okay. And sweet potatoes, the K-factor is only 14, but that's still good. It's still really good. Okay, now let's take a look at lower quality foods for health. Ground beef has a K-factor of about 4. It's still a human food, okay? It's still got more potassium than sodium. But when you start looking at these processed foods, you'd be amazed how bad they are. Like here's Special K cereal, which I used to think was healthy when I was a kid. That has a K-factor of 0.06. Look at this. There's 16 times more sodium than potassium. That's terrible. I would never eat that. I would never eat any food with more sodium than potassium in it. Look at potato chips. Okay. K factor of 0.9. Okay. There's more sodium than potassium. You know, Dennis Burkitt had noted that humans are the only animal, because of all this processed food junk, that eats more sodium than potassium. The average American was eating much more sodium than potassium. That's terrible. Okay, we've sort of reversed our natural diet, and that messes up the plasma membrane gradients in every single cell in your body. It dissipates the sodium battery, electrochemical gradient in your cells, making it harder for your plasma membranes to do work. It doesn't just cause high blood pressure, it's damaging to every cell in your body. Some of these other cereals like soy burgers are 1.6. So remember, anything less than 5 is bad. Okay, soy burgers 1.6. Cheerios 1.2. These are terrible numbers. Cheetos 0.14. You don't want to eat any of this stuff. So anyways, there's a lesson there. You want a good K factor? Eat your starches, eat your fruits, especially. Okay, and don't get me wrong, veggies are good for a lot of other things. They have a lot of nutrients in them. They've got a lot of nitrate precursors and antioxidants, okay? And you get fiber from all these plant foods. So anyways, hope that was helpful.